welcome to 2E 101. I'm Kristen, your host, and today we are so fortunate to be speaking with Julie Skolnick. Julie is a sought-after speaker on 2E, and she is the author of the fantastic book, Gifted and Distractible, Understanding, Supporting, and Advocating for Your Twice Exceptional Child. And she has a host of resources online as well at withunderstandingcomescalm.com. And we'll talk more about that. Julie, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Kristen, thanks for having me.
Julie, you and I are both parents of 2E kids, and an experience that I think many of us share is that we do our homework as a parent, we read the books, we listen to the talks, we learn the theories, but sometimes that still leaves us with this core question. So what can I actually do? So one thing I would love to talk about today is how we can answer that question for some of our parents with actionable steps that we can take to make a discernible difference in our lives. So, Julie, our first parent writes, I am dreading my child's parent-teacher conference. When I meet my child's teachers, I rarely feel like we're even on the same page, let alone on the same team. How can I have a more collaborative relationship with my child's school?
So this is a great question. And I want to mention that advocacy is part of what I call the cycle for success, what I've created. My cycle for success starts with a deep understanding of the profile. So we've got to start there. When we want to advocate, we have to actually make sure we really understand our child and our child when they thrive, first and foremost, and then our child when they struggle. Then we can develop strategies that are most effective and impactful for our children based on that understanding. And we all know once you've met one 2E kid, you met one 2E kid. So it really is personalized. And then third is that advocacy piece. And actually that cycle for success, understanding strategies, advocacy is how my book, Gifted and Distractible, is organized. So there's an entire section and worksheets about exactly this question. So let me answer you briefly that I think of advocacy as the art of advocacy, A-R-T. We have to acknowledge, request, and thank. Acknowledge, because even though we're so fed up and we've heard all sorts of negative things about our kids our entire life, and we just want to throw ourselves in front of the train that we see coming down the track about to crash, right? We have to pause and acknowledge the work that this partner, this teacher, is doing, or even just the time that they're spending right now. Because guess what? They haven't been trained in twice exceptionality. They have, I mean, unless of course they work at the flex school, but they are themselves struggling because they don't have a lot of support. And because I work with parents and I train teachers, I have both sides of that coin. I really support both. I have both backs. So I tell teachers the same thing. Let me tell you what the parents' experience has been. So everybody has to sort of understand first and acknowledge the effort we're all making. Next is the request. And actually, this is the middle of the Oreo cookie, right? The request has to be clear, concise, specific. When I look at IEPs or 504 plans, so often the goals are like so ethereal or like pedantic, so and so will do such and such 3 times out of 11. Like, I'm like, what are you even talking about? Let's actually say what our goal is. And the way you know you've created a specific goal is if there are obvious action items to come out of that goal. And then the thank, right? That gratitude at the end is really important. And I'm just going to say it. Sounds funny maybe, but bake cookies and bring them, or buy cookies and bring them. It's really important to have that kind of relationship. So we're building a relationship, we're specific, we have gratitude, we're coming in with this collaborative idea. Even though we've been burned before, we've got to try in this way to advocate so that we create the atmosphere that works. Now, there's one other thing, Kristen, there's a million other things, but I want to bring up one other thing, which is teachers see your twice exceptional child in the classroom where they're probably not at their best. So how do we help them broaden their perspective of your child? I really recommend actually bringing photos of your child, not 150 or a whole book, but 2, 3 of your child in flow, demonstrating not your child holding up the book they just read or the Lego they just made or even their arm around the homeless person they just served in their philanthropic endeavor, but actually reading the book, building the Lego, serving the homeless person, right? Like in action, so that they have a visual of your child engaged so that they know that it happens because they're probably struggling with that in the classroom.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
gosh.
just scratched the surface, just saying.
Yeah, no, but that is such great perspective. And I have to say, I don't think I've heard that piece of advice before about showing your kid kind of engrossed and engaged and in that state of flow. And that really is, it's so worth capturing so that they can see that like this is the goal, this is what we're going for. So I
It's a
love,
reframe. It's a
and
reframe.
it is, and as a school employee, I also love the cookie idea, I have to say.
Yep.
Friends, be sure to check out Julie's book, Gifted and Distractible, and visit her website, withunderstandingcomescalm.com. And don't forget to subscribe to her Gifted and Distractible newsletter for updates on her online communities, courses for 2E adults, Gifted and Distractible book study, and just tons of good stuff for 2E. Thank you again so much for watching.